embedded in the values that we uphold: truth, justice, peace, and the integrity of creation. In 2006, Miriam College launched a pioneering academic program, the Master of Arts in Migration Studies. This course offers a critical study and analysis of the multidimensional nature of migration with a focus on the crucial element of gender. Now, on its 5th year, we are happy to say that we continue to sponsor its annual migration lecture series, attracting more and more participants every year. So we are indeed happy to be part of this broad, lively, and highly effective network of organizations committed to delivering real contributions in the area. I know, and you know, that there is much work ahead of us. But today, we all recommit to continuing this work. And may this year's forum result in another big leap in our efforts, bringing more concrete responses to the big issues of migration today. Your days will be full, so I bid you a good morning and a productive meeting to all. Welcome again.
This is just a short announcement. Our channels for interpretation, because we have French, Spanish, and other speakers here. The Spanish channel is 87.3. The French channel is 90.3. And the English channel is 91.5. I hope everybody got that. Okay. So now we proceed to introduce our panel of speakers this morning. And as I introduce them, may I ask them to please sit in our sofa here. First in the panel speaker would be William Goyce. I think, should I even introduce him? Everybody knows him. But just the same, William, of course, is the regional coordinator of the Migrant Forum in Asia and the chair of the Migrant Rights International. He, along with at least 30 organizations composing the Philippine Preparatory Committee, Philippine Working Group that have been working since February to prepare for this conference, have been in the forefront of many struggles, and just recently he attended the GFMD in Mauritius. For the last 20 years, he has been fighting and promoting for migrant rights and in promoting fair and equitable migration policies internationally and regionally. He has engaged and continues to engage governments and works closely with the International Labour Organization, the Office of the High Commissioner on Human Rights, and the Committee on Migrant Workers and other special mandates. William Goyce, you can take your seat.
Yeah, you want to use this?
Okay, in the tradition of our activist tradition of helping start up with issues, we would like to repeat our chants. Again, this is a rehearsal of our November 30 Action 2. This is a World Social Forum of action groups, right? So when I shout migrants' rights, you would say human rights, women's rights, human rights, and then the people united will never be defeated, okay? Migrants' rights! Migrants' rights! Migrants' rights! Women's rights! Women's rights! Workers' rights! The people united will never be defeated. You can do it in your own language if you have. The migrants united! The migrants united! The workers united! The women united! The people united! Ang tao, ang bayan! Ang tao, ang bayan! El pueblo unido! El pueblo unido! The people united! Thank you. Long live solidarity. Let's act again on November 30. Thank you.
Tukoy. You know, I think there's a new energy that we are all experiencing. And it's great to be part of that. It's fantastic to be part of that. I was just reflecting that in this last 10 days or 2 weeks, in different spaces in the world, people have been reflecting and calling for the rights of migrant workers. Even as we assemble here, about a week ago, civil society from all over the world had also assembled in Mauritius for the first time in Africa for the Global Forum on Migration and Development. And there we raised the same slogans. There we had some of the same bandanas that we're recycling our bandanas. So we had the same bandanas that we had there. You saw some of the people in the crowd wearing the green ones. We had our friend from the trade unions, Carl Flecker, prepare them for us at home. And we are now continuing to wear them here. The last 2 days, we have had parliamentarians from Asia coming here to Manila to look at and to push for, and they have been coming over the period of the last 6 years, but for the first time to say, let's move this forward. Let's put more substance into this. Let's consolidate this process of parliamentarians from Asia to come together, and we had guests with us as well from Latin America and from the Palestinian region, coming together to say it is important, it is very important that we as parliamentarians get more engaged in the issues of migration. Today, I think this is the largest gathering at the opening of the World Social Forum in terms of its diversity from the different countries in the world present. And this is something that we should be proud of. That we took time, made an effort, put in resources, and committed ourselves to be here. Thank you very much for coming. But now that we are here, what do we do? What do we do when we are here? What do we do when we come into this space that many people find difficult to understand? Why such a space is important? Why do we need to come together? Many of us have struggled with resources to come here. And we are very grateful to those who have supported us in coming here. For those who made it possible to send in delegations. For those who contributed out of their own to come here into this space. Because somewhere we believed it is important for us as grassroots organizations, as social movements, as trade unions, as progressive academics, as people working in the development sector, as faith-based groups, to come here to say, let us think together, let us occupy this space. Somebody said occupy Miriam, no threat to Miriam, but let's occupy this space over the next few days to see what are the issues that we deal with in our daily lives. This is the one space in all the spaces that happen at the international level. This is the one space that brings together all the different dimensions, the challenges that we face in the area of migration. This is the one space that we get to talk to each other, to understand the work that we are doing, to build solidarity, to build network, to find new energy, to make stronger commitments. This is that space. This is that time when we come together, and that is why it was so impressive in the preparatory process to find how people would contact the Secretariat to say, how can we come there? And in the last few weeks, people asking us, how can we help? Very thankful to the delegations that came ahead of time to do the stapling, to do the photocopying, to do the printing, and to put things in the materials in the kit. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for making it your forum. And now that we have this space, let us take time to, in the next few days, to see how we begin to own this space through the World Social Forum, to bring out a new energy in advancing the rights of migrant workers. There's a lot of challenges before us. A lot of challenges before us, and in the course of the next few weeks, the next few days, you will see that. But before we even go to that, I want to thank the people who make this possible. Honestly, there's a lot of people. I will try my best to recall, and if any of you remember somebody I'm missing, please shout it out from the floor, because I would like to acknowledge everyone that made this possible. First of all, I'd like to thank the people who are working day in and day out on this process. The MFA team, the technical secretariat, the volunteers, and who came in, the interns who came in. I had told them, the people, that I would ask them to come on stage, and they seem to have left the room because they didn't want to be called on stage. So, for the MFA people, thank you for all that you have done over the last few months in putting this together. For the interns that came in, thank you so much. Nothing would have happened, or much would not have happened without you. For the Philippine working group that put this together, I've lost count of the number of meetings and sub-meetings they have had. I've lost count of the number of meetings and sub-meetings they have had. The last one being just to organize the jeepneys from the different hotels to bring people here. And that negotiation with the jeepney drivers concluded at something like 1 o'clock last night. So thank you to the Philippine Working Group. To the International Committee of the World Social Forum that trusted us with this, that gave us this mandate to prepare for it. For most of you who know, this was given to Asia 2 years ago when we finished the 4th World Social Forum in Ecuador. And the Assembly approved that we should hold this in Asia. It was a turning point in the World Social Forum on migration itself. A decision was made to rotate this through the regions, to make it a World Social Forum. And Asia took that risk to say we would try. And the Assembly believed that, trusted us, and gave us that confidence. Thank you for the Assembly, for the people of the last World Social Forum, and for the International Committee. Thank you very much for the trust that you have in us. To Miriam College, thank you so much. Thank you so much. When we first came here in the Philippine Working Group was looking at venues of where to do this, there were a number of options that were put before the table. But somehow, when we came here, when we had a Philippine Working Group meeting here in Miriam College, before the decision was made to host it here, the Philippine Working Group, there was a sense among us that we have made a decision, that it will be here. This continues to be the perfect place for us to hold the World Social Forum. And thank you for being so patient with us in all the demands that we made of you in the preparatory process. Thank you. And now you have to help me if I'm leaving out anyone. Because the people from Anybody? Am I leaving anybody? If I'm leaving anybody, please shout that out. But let me just tell you who's here as well. We have people from the Global Coalition on Migration. Can you wave your hands up? Yeah, this is the new Global Coalition on Migration. We have people from Migrant Rights International. People from Migrant Forum in Asia. People from the Global Union Federations. People from the Global Union Federations, people from the IPUC, the Union Federations and their affiliates. We have faith-based organizations. Who else?
Migrants Association.
Global unions such as migrants associations and grassroots communities. La Via Campesina. Global Network. International Domestic Workers Network, the Trade and Development Network, the Climate Justice Network. Okay, we have people from the Middle Eastern region, the Gulf and the Middle East. For the first time in any global meeting on migration, we have people from the Pacific in big numbers, people from Australia and the Pacific. For the first time in any global forum or in any People's Global Action or in any World Social Forum, a big delegation from Canada. A delegation that came in to volunteer with us. We have people from Palestine. People from the Women's Caucus on Migration. This is your space.
People from Burma.
People from Burma for the first time. We will discover more and more over the next few days. It all depends on us, how we make this space our space. At the end of the day, the World Social Forum is just space. What we make out of that space is left to us who have asked for time on poster sessions, is left to us who have asked for time on workshops, who we have asked to lead us in setting the tone of the day. It's our forum. At the end of the day, don't worry if there's no coffee. I'm not making an excuse that there's no coffee. But don't worry if there's no coffee, right? And don't worry if some things in the logistics are not going in the way that you had hoped it would have gone. That is the chaos of the World Social Forum. And in this chaos, the discussions we bring to it, the reflections we bring to it, the thoughts we bring to it, the commitment we bring to it, that is what makes the difference. And I thank you all for coming and being with us today. Bravo and migrant rights!
Thank you, William. Thank you. And we say thank you to Miriam College. And I want to take this opportunity to also thank the Migrant Forum Asia and the Filipino Working Group. They have been doing a great job. Do you agree? Right? Well, and I'm honored to introduce another, a very wonderful woman that we have been working with her for the last 5 social forums on migration. And let me introduce Ellen Sana. Mrs. Sana, she's currently the executive director of the Center for Migrant Advocacy, CMA, in Manila. She has over 20 years of experience working to advance respect for human rights in the Philippines. CMA engaged with policy at various levels, including with local officials, community-based groups, nationally with policy makers and executive agencies, regionally and with international organizations. Mrs. Sana regularly acts as a resource person in Filipino congressional meetings and public hearings and migration-related policies and issues in the Philippines. Please welcome Helen Santos. Helen.
Thank you, Jose Luis, for that generous introduction. I think his introduction is longer than my message. Also because I think William said the most important message, which is also to thank you, apart from, of course, giving you the warm welcome to all of us here in Miriam College. I'm representing the Philippine Working Group that was already mentioned by Oyi and, of course, by William. Our composition, we are like 23 organizations in the Philippines who have committed to make it a reality here, the World Social Forum on Migration in the Philippines. We are as diverse as the participants here today. And why? Because even if other groups joining the migrant rights organizations and coalitions are not focused, so to speak, on migration, we all see that connectivity and the interrelatedness of our issues with the issues of the other sectors. We have groups in the PWG who are working definitely with the workers' rights because migrants, 90% of international migrants are workers. And therefore, this is an issue of our trade union in the Philippines, as well as the issues of the Global Union Federations, who are also represented in the PWG. Our first speaker who welcomed you this morning, Charito, already stressed the fact of the feminization of migration. And it is not like an issue that we are against as women, that women should move out of their houses and work, not only within the country, but across the borders. We are very concerned because most of our women migrants are concentrated in precarious job occupations, which make them all the more vulnerable than the other migrants. And this is definitely an issue, not only of migrants' rights activists and advocates, but definitely by all of us. We are concerned, not only the migrants' rights activists, but the policy advocacy groups, because the current labor migration that we see today, and it is happening very much true in the case of the Philippines, is brought about or is a consequence of bad, but most probably, economic and development policies. And hence, decent jobs are not as available in our country, that a lot of our people and a lot of our workers have to make that decision to cross the borders and work as migrant workers. This is a social issue when families have to separate with their parents because one or two of the parents have to go abroad. This is an issue that while remittances come, and of course very true again in the case of the Philippines, that they have kept the economy afloat, it is at the cost, enormous cost to the lives and to the families of migrant workers. And definitely it warms the heart that finally we have brought the World Social Forum to Asia. For the last 4 World Social Forums, it has been conducted alternatively in Europe and in Latin America. And we believe that the experiences of Asian migrants should be something that our colleagues and fellow advocates in the other regions of the world can also learn a lot from, as we definitely can learn a lot from their experiences in the other regions. Diversity brings about a lot of debates, definitely, and that's why our design of the workshops is such that we would like to spend a lot of time to unpack the issues, the multifaceted, multidimensional issues of migration, because at the end of the day, as we say in our theme, we discuss, we understand, we analyze, we unpack the issue, but let us not stop there. Let us try to find concrete solutions, concrete policy recommendations and advocacies, so that we don't repeat on these things the next time we meet again in the World Social Forums, but definitely try to appreciate and build upon these previous discourses and recommendations of the past and the present. So with that, I again extend our warm welcome to all of us and our greetings of solidarity to all of you. It's a 5-day full schedule to discourse, to understand the issues of migration, but definitely, and it extends very true in the tradition of the World Social Forum program. It extends from the morning till evening, where in the evening, it's not only like to relax, but we try also to have that space to interact, exchange culture, exchange traditions in a creative way. So let's try to be alert and let's try to contribute in making things much, much better for our migrants and the members of their family. And on behalf of our Philippine Working Group, who like August of 2011, we were convening and asking ourselves, can we do this? We have had so many global forums already, and of course, one very real issue for us is the cost of it, to bring everybody here. But after a lot of intense debates, we agreed, and we've started to work on this. As William said, we had to make a bid with the International Advisory Committee that we can do it in Asia, that we can do it in Manila. And so we're just too happy that today it has become a reality. Let us honor the efforts of our colleagues, not only from the Philippines, but from across the globe, to make this a reality where we are convened together here, very diverse groups coming from different perspectives and contexts, but we are united on the issue of upholding dignity for everyone, decent jobs for everyone, and definitely migrants' rights for those who are crossing the borders and not only for those within the national borders. Good morning and warm welcome again. Thank you.
I got a confession to make. I'm always when I hear Helen talk, I got inspired. Thank you, Helen. Well, we as a social society know the importance of making alliance with the legislators, parliamentary. So, in this case, I'm very proud to announce that we're going to invite Mr. Charles Santiago. He is from the Asian Parliamentary Caucus and Labor Migration. Please join us.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, and friends, I bring you greetings of peace and solidarity from Malaysia, as well as the Asian Inter-Parliamentary Caucus on Labour Migration. We, the members of the Asian Inter-Parliamentary Caucus on Labour Migration, came together the last 2 days in Manila to address urgent issues of social protection for migrant workers. The convergence of the parliamentarians gathering and the World Social Forum on Migration presents an important opportunity to advance the agenda of migrants' rights protection. In the current discussion and discourse on migration and development, both at the national and at the international levels, there is a deficit in the discourse on social protection and its link with the broader process of development. Even within the government-to-government processes, such as the Global Forum on Migration and Development. Thus, the value of this meeting, the World Social Forum on Migration, and its plurality of discourse is that it presents an alternative space, as William had pointed out earlier, in which to explore new ideas, new innovative ideas to advance the rights and protection of migrant rights in the global marketplace. There are 214 million migrants all over the world. They're involved in dangerous, demeaning, and dirty jobs, but are fundamental to the creation of wealth in the global marketplace. In this global economic crisis, migrants are also victims. Today we live in a world of contrasts. one driven by inequality and injustice, the 99% against the 1%. Today, the 1% wields enormous political and corporate power, and wealth is concentrated in their hands. And together, they shape market rules and control trade and governments through trade agreements. The 99% includes migrant workers who are vulnerable, who face discrimination, including gender-based violations and violence, confront exploitation on a daily basis, and many live in poverty. Migrant workers face a crisis of humanity, where they have no rights in the places where they work and in places where they live. Therefore, to advance the power of the 99%, the migrant community must work together with the people's movement, including the Occupy movement and other resistance movements in the world. Social protection and development are fundamental rights of migrant workers, irrespective of legal status. Migrants are development actors and make significant contributions to both sending and receiving countries and to the global economy. Their remittance amounts to 338 billion in 2008, yet most of the 214 million international migrants cannot avail of social protection mechanisms to ensure the rights and development needs of all migrant workers. Therefore, we, the parliamentarians, the Asian Interparliamentary Caucus on Labour Migration, calls on states in both migrant sending countries, receiving countries, including multilateral bodies, and the business community to play a greater role in assuming responsibility for protecting and promoting the rights of migrant workers and their families. Across Asia, discussions of regional economic integration has thus far failed to incorporate the rights and welfare of migrant workers and workers in the informal sector. We urge states to develop social protection frameworks within the existing structures and institutions vis-à-vis social protection for migrant workers. In addition, we strongly urge ASEAN governments to expedite the drafting of the ASEAN Instrument of Protection for Migrant Workers to ensure that it is enacted and formulated by 2015. Furthermore, we call upon governments to include social security mechanisms in Memorandum of Understanding and bilateral agreements and ensure that these documents meet the highest standards of transparency, enforcement, supervision, and that they are made available to all relevant stakeholders. It is necessary to build an alternative development model that is free, fair, equal, and just for all. Crucial to this process is the urgent need to reclaim the state for people. And I suggest that in this context, that the migrant workers be allowed to vote even from outside their countries in order to become significant partners of development. As a caucus of parliamentarians, we are motivated to expand our reach in the next 2 years. By the next World Social Forum on Migration in 2014, we aim to come together as Global Parliamentary Caucus for the first time to engage in substantial discussions and to maximize our influence on the migrants' rights discourse. And lastly, we stand together. If we stand together, there is no challenge too great, no mission too hard. Standing together, we have nothing to lose but the chains of oppression. Thank you and wish you the very best in the next 2 days.